When you find a real estate platform that aligns everyone in the entire company financially by making us real estate agents owners, so when the average agent wins, everyone wins, that's the secret to success. And when you surround yourself with like-minded entrepreneurial people who absolutely love what they do, they love serving people, they love God and life, and you put yourself in an environment of high energy, high producing, positive people every day, you can't help but succeed in business and life. We are changing the real estate industry and changing real estate agents' lives. Welcome to the Financial Freedom Forever Podcast.
Well, hey everyone, we have Mr. Dan Hilsman from Atlanta, Georgia here on our Financial Freedom Forever podcast. And man, Dan's been a friend of mine for quite a while and a business partner now, and super excited to have you on, Dan. How you doing, man?
Hey, Gary, glad to be on today. Appreciate the opportunity.
All right, Dan. Well, let's jump right into it. Tell us a little bit about your real estate journey and who Dan Hilsman is and what's your story, brother?
Yeah, so I'm Dan Hilsman, live in Cobb County, Georgia, married, wife, and two kids. So I say kids, one's 20, one's 18, but they're still my kids. Been licensed, like I said, over 20 years and been at EXP a little bit over 3 years. Started off in the mortgage business. So got a real estate license, couldn't find anybody to get my people approved. They were all turned down. I thought that's silly. Can't really all be turned down. And I thought that's kind of a bad attitude. What do they have to do to get it pre-approved? And no one really wanted, or I couldn't find anyone initially to take the extra step. So a long time ago, you could just say, hey, I am a loan officer. And, it was a little bit easier back then. So I became a loan officer, got my people pre-approved, sold a few houses. Then I kind of focused mostly on loans for about 10 years. And, I think I started in the rates around the 12% interest rate. So it can be done. Luckily, that's not where we are today, but
right.
Pretty sure sooner or later, someday, hopefully in about 100 years, they'll be back in the 12s. Hopefully we'll miss that one again. But so then after 10 years or so, the company I was with had some challenges with husband and wife owners, and they closed and decided to just go full-time in real estate. And kind of, for a while, bounced around trying to figure out how to be a good solo agent. And couldn't really find too much help. Maybe I guess looked in the wrong place or the time wasn't right. And then I finally got a little bit of steam, got with a pretty good company and learned some things and started understanding how to sell to people through internet leads and how to nurture and figure out timing motivation on those leads. And then one day a friend of mine mentioned I might be looking for a brokerage change, and he mentioned EXP, and here we are today, about 3 years later.
So it's been about 3 years in EXP, huh? So, Dan, you're a pretty, modest guy, that's for sure. Pretty humble, and I know you've done really well. I know you give all the glory to God, and I appreciate that, and I'm the same way. So, praise, amen to that. But in the last 3 years, you've really grown, a heck of a real estate organization within EXP. And, when we talk about financial freedom forever, you're definitely on your way there for sure. And excited to unpack that. But so tell us, how did you hear about EXP? And what was the top one or two things that really got you excited about it to make the brokerage change?
Yeah, well, like I said, I was talking with a friend and I said I might be looking for a brokerage change. He said, have you heard about EXP Realty? Or have you heard of EXP Realty? And I said, yeah, but I don't think they're in Georgia. And he said, no, they're in Georgia. I'll give my friend a call. He had me give a friend of his a call. Weren't really a good match. The guy he didn't answer my IDX lead generation site transfer questions well, which I'm real grateful for. Nice guy, and he's doing well, but just was not the right fit. So looked into EXP a little bit more, kept doing some due diligence. I did it relatively fast though. I mean, I came over mentally, I probably came over within a day, and logistically it took me, a couple of weeks to come over, which is super fast for most agents. But right. I tell agents, I tell agents that I've spoke to on stage before, look, so you're looking for someone like me in that I had pain and pleasure. So there's some things going on in the company that I wasn't real thrilled about. In fairness, there's three sides to every story. So, nothing too much there, but it was enough for me to be interested in looking for a change. And then I saw the XP model, and I saw a lot of pleasure in that model. So, I'm kind of rare. Agents usually move for pain or pleasure. So I'm a little bit unique in that I had a little bit of both. But yeah, just love the company. And one thing that really got me excited was it allows me to help agents at a higher level than I could at any other real estate company. So to bring agents to a traditional team model is nice. But when I do that, I couldn't give them a much higher than a traditional split. I couldn't give them their own lead generation platform. And I certainly wasn't in a position to try to help them to get really good so they would leave the team.
Right.
And that does happen. And that is the direction that you want to go in. But there's a little tug and pull from, being realistic, going, hey, I hope everybody gets great so they leave my team. So at EXP, though, we can help them with that. So a big thing for me was helping agents on a higher level, and then to develop a third pillar of income, which is consistent, continual monthly income that would either help them be financially free, pay off their bills, be debt free, and then for some older agents, maybe have a great exit strategy from real estate.
All right, great. So you were a mortgage broker or loan officer, you said, for about 10 years, and you were you had your own real estate company, weren't you? A broker owner of your own independent aid company for a little bit?
Yep. So that happened first, long time ago. We started having a few sales and had a bright idea that I would open my own real estate company and keep all the money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that doesn't work. In that, I guess it could work, but you also have all the overhead, all the liability, and it was just me. So after a while of having to deal with FMLS, 1099s, just all the stuff that didn't have anything to do with selling real estate, I had a friend that said, hey, why don't you come be broker in charge for me? He had 9 agents. And so went to be broker in charge. So I've done a little bit of both, broker owner, solo agent. Learned enough there, though, to realize that that's not, and even if I had built that up, I couldn't do for my agents there what the being broker in charge had done, because he already had income coming in. And he could do a little bit for his agents. But then the broker in charge, what I learned from that was, as a friend of mine, I did not negotiate a very good split. So basically, old joke in the business, adult daycare. So I had 9 agents that I was put in charge of to make sure they were behaving and take all their complaints. And, there's some good with it too. Had some good agents there that I met and helped. But, those agents too, at that brokerage, getting a little tiny split from each of those agents wasn't a great plan either.
So you've done a little bit of everything, broker owner your own company, broker of a friend's company with 9 agents, mortgage officer, solo agent at that, at the other company you were from. So, hey, if anyone's out, the guys that are out there listening, and you have any questions for Dan, anything specific, put them in the chat and we'll try to answer them for you, and give us some love here. Give Dan some love for the time that he's putting into us to help us all grow our real estate businesses and learn from his stories. But tell us, Dan, what was the most difficult part of being, either a solo agent or broker owner, since you've done both? What are the things that you struggled with most in the past? And the second part of that question is, when you moved over to EXP and partnered, with us, how did that solve those problems for you?
Yeah, so on the broker owner and solo, since that was kind of the same, it was really just, it kind of boils down to time management. When a broker owner, though, part of it would be having to do all the things that involve keeping my license open and my company open, which was just minor paperwork, and it wasn't a lot of time, but it usually seemed to pop up at the worst times, or the time when I didn't plan on it. And then being a solo agent, I wish I'd have had someone, and they probably did. I probably had some help with this, but maybe I didn't hear it loud and clear. Maybe the time wasn't right. But, would have been helpful if someone would have dug in with me a little bit deeper and said, there's instead of just this way, there's just one way of doing things. There's a lot of different ways. And then maybe what is my goal? as opposed to what is their goal. And if I would have had that kind of help, and if I'd been open and heard it, then that would have been a big deal for me. So one thing I love about EXP, when I did have a small team also, so very small team at the last company. I've never recruited an agent. I didn't realize that until I came to EXP and had hundreds of agents. I started thinking about it. I thought, well, you know what? Broker owner is just me. Broker in charge, 9 agents that I inherited. And the last company, 4 agents on a team, but 1 came from the company. I think they didn't want to start their own team, and somehow they gave them to me. 2 came from my loan officer, and 1 was a past friend that basically talked his way into letting and come joining me so I would help him learn how to sell real estate. So 0 recruits ever prior to EXP. So there you go.
And so let's unpack that a little bit. Now with EXP and growing your local team here in Atlanta and your global team around the U.S. and Canada. How many agents do you have on your team now? And if you don't mind sharing, what has that meant to you, financially for your family?
Yep. So the difference is, while I was able not to recruit any agents, I didn't know how prior to, and also I didn't totally believe in that I was a great fit for most agents. I thought, probably 97% of agents probably should not work with me. I work out of the home. I have internet leads. I want a 50-50 split. I had some that were on 60 and then they'd get up to 70, but if you pay them much more than 70, then I'm not making any money when I back out the leads. And then, so basically you either break even or pay agents to stay there. So that wasn't great. But at EXP, so when I came over, the difference was that I presented an opportunity. I wasn't trying to bring people to a traditional team model or agents to a traditional team model. So the opportunity, once I learned the ins and outs of EXP and the bigger picture of the opportunity, in presenting that opportunity, I told a few friends, and they looked into it for a while, and then a lot of them came over, and then they told a few friends. And so personally, I brought over 49 agents in just over 3 years, and 49, a few of those 49, because that's how it works, I brought over, I haven't looked today, but it was 682 last night.
Wow.
So yeah, 680. Well, and Andre, I appreciate you. You're a big part of that. And I don't know, I haven't looked, but got to be getting close to 30 states. And, with your help, all the agents that we have up in Canada. So, so it's just compound effect of time, effort, and energy. And I don't know most of those agents. My role was in the 49, and then, I helped a friend. I help friends bring friends. So like yourself, I helped a gentleman come over and helped him bring a mutual friend over, and then we have a conversation with you. So that part's how it grows.
And that's just it. I mean, we're not really, I don't feel that we're recruiting. We're really attracting the right people. The model attracts the right people that are looking to bring their businesses to the next level, right? I mean, I know Jay says, hey, if you're happy where you're at on doing whatever amount of deals you're doing, you're happy with the amount of income that you earn, you're happy with the amount of hours that you work, and life couldn't be any better in your real estate career, then you're probably not a good fit. We're looking for people who want to go to the next level. They want to grow and grow their income, their business, or maybe work less, whatever it might be, whatever their goal is usually our goal, but growth is usually a part of it, right?
Yep.
And I found it's all about just reaching out to a few of your friends, people that you like. We don't call people that we don't like. We don't call people that, maybe we've done business deals with them in the past and they weren't the kind of people we'd want to work with, right? We call our friends and colleagues that are, they do a good job, and we want to partner up with them. And then that's it, right? We actually get to financially partner up with them. So when they win, we win, right? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, for sure. So, it's a business partner relationship. So not recruiting agents, even though I think the word recruiting can be a good word, in that if someone's calling you, they must care enough about you to call you and try to be of help to you, present opportunity to you. But, it really is more of a business partnership relationship, because and that's what just blows me away, and what I love about the company. I spend about half my time helping agents to help agents, or helping agents in production.
Right.
But by doing that, the financial, kind of helping other people get what they want, then you'll have whatever you want. And that really holds true at eXp Realty. So by helping these agents at a higher level than I ever could before, and helping them to help other agents at a higher level than I could ever before, then I'm financially taken care of through the model of doing that, which is pretty neat because it kind of fits my personality anyway, like going around helping people. So, but a traditional model, if I go around and help people, then, we could be broke and hungry. But at this time, if I go around helping people, it's the opposite of that.
I 100% agree. I mean, at my old position before I jumped into EXP myself, as you know, I was a coach for a coaching company, and heck, they were charging anywhere from 20 to 30 grand a year to help these people grow their businesses. And man, I did that for 9 years, and been in real estate myself 30. And so we can help agents. If most agents that we talk to just want to sell more houses, grow their production. And you and I can do that all day long with our 30 years worth of experience and not charge them a dime because, the company actually pays us to help everybody grow. So it's an unbelievable model for sure. My next question, Dan, what surprised you most about EXP? What were you not expecting that's even better than you thought it would be?
Well, a little on probably the stock. I'm not a stock guy. When they said you get stock, I'm like, yeah, great. So, I'm like, yeah, great. If they're going to give me free stock, that's wonderful. On a little bit of a humorous note, I have some agents that I brought over to the company over 3 years ago, and I looked recently, and the little bit of free stock they gave me for those agents a long time ago was worth about $10,000 per agent. So,
wow.
For a guy that didn't care anything about the stock, really, that was a big surprise. And, a few thousand free shares of stock could kind of change your mind about being interested in stock. And then also, being able to buy the stock with my commission dollars at a 10% discount.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, and then I tell agents, do that. If they want to, I think it's a good idea. The company seems to be growing. So,
seems to be growing, yeah.
Yeah, it seems to be growing. So I think when we started, there was 8,000 agents when I started, 8,000 and change, and today, a little bit over 3 years later, there's 60,000 and change. So
yeah, we actually, last numbers I heard when I started 2.5 years ago, we were at about 15,000 agents or so, 16, and we just broke over 62,000 the other day. Yep, and I think 14 countries. That we're in. But what a game changer. Think about that. I've been at a few other real estate companies in the past, started with Century 21, went to Better Homes and Gardens, then independent with my partner in New York. And, I never got stock. I was a pretty good producer. My partner and I together was selling like 300 homes a year. Even when I was only doing 20, 30 deals a year as a solo agent without a team, that's still pretty good, 30, 40, 20 to 40 deals a year. And we got some trophies. I remember when I moved, I had those trophies and the plaques on my wall because it did make you proud and feel good that you were a top producer. But it's like, I'm not moving them with me to Georgia and toss them in the garbage, right? Well, with EXP, when you hit some milestones, the same milestones that we get these other trophies for, we got some trophies, but there's 5 ways that we get stock, right? And the biggest one for a lot of people that are producers is getting their entire cap back in EXP stock. It was $8.15 when I joined, and I don't know, when I last looked the other day, it was over 40, and that's after the stock split that we got 2 for 1, right? So to me, that's where it's like $80. So that's 10 times in that 2 years. So imagine for agents like us when we started in our 20s and 30s and have a 20, 30 year career in real estate, if you just put that 5% away from all your checks. And I did that. I took a percentage and put it away, gave it to my financial guy. I don't know nothing about stocks, but gave it to my financial guy and did that for all those years and being in real estate and got a pretty good amount of money in there for retirement. But when you look at when you're retired, you want to take 4% out of your out of your full amount. So you have enough money to live on till the day we go home to be with the Lord. That amount that I got monthly, it was like under $3,000 a month. Even though it's, whatever that number was, 500-600 grand in there, and it's like $3,000 a month. And we've been able to triple that monthly amount in 2.5 years because of this business model. Yep. That's mind blowing. Yeah, and then the 5% that people can invest into their own company from their commissions, right? With that agent equity program, we get 10% discount, right? We get 10% equity in the stocks that we purchase from our commission. I don't know of any other company that's ever even looks at anything like that.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Yeah, it's a big deal. So now in regard to just the stock, my biggest problem is, I don't know how you ever sell it or when you sell it. So I'm not going to sell it anytime soon, but I don't know. Sooner or later, you might want to sell some. Maybe I'll sell some and buy something really nice someday.
Well, I have some team members in my group that sold some stock and bought an $80,000 boat because he lives on the lake and wanted a boat. So he got a free boat from EXP from his stocks. Yeah. I know some guys that have been able to, they know the stock market a lot better than I do, and they actually sold some before it split. And I don't know all exact. And then when it dropped and bought back in, but made a ton. But I'm like you, Dan. I'm just going to hang on to it, and when we're ready to slow down, we'll probably cash in and we'll enjoy it then. But just a handful more questions. I know a lot of big question for some people is what kind of support that you get from the local brokers, and what's your experience like from the local brokers and from the EXP employees. Last I heard, a year ago, we had like 1,200 employees. I don't remember what the number is now. It's probably 1,700 or 1,800. What's your experience been like? Because we're a cloud-based company, right? How does explain that to people who might not know how that works?
Yeah, so the good part about that is I can usually get an answer a lot faster than traditional real estate. I just log on the computer, click on a map of the United States, click on a picture of Georgia. It pops me into the Georgia brokerage room. Somebody sitting there, take a ticket. I get my question answered within minutes as opposed to getting in the car and driving somewhere. I like to use real life examples. So I had a guy in Florida. I have a guy that was in my group in Florida, and he had a question for his broker. And he had just come on, and he was like, how do I get this answer? And something he needed done right away. And he was kind of frantic a little bit. And I said, all right, so, get out your computer, go and look at your picture United States, broker stateroom, click on Florida, go in. And he got his answer. I told him what to do. He did it, called me back, and he said, man, I went in and everything's fine, got it all fixed, but I got my answer faster than I could have at my previous company. Got in the car. He said, by the time I would have been halfway to my previous office, I was already in and out with my answer. So he went from somewhat skeptical to a big fan of that part of the process. Currently, actually, I talked to the broker just last week, and there's 2,200 agents in Georgia. That's the whole state. I think in our current there's like 1,600 in Metro Atlanta. But we also have a broker in charge, and then we have a managing broker, and then we have a lot of other support staff. So I think the biggest mistake I see some agents make is they think they have to ask their broker a question, but a lot of times it's not a broker question. It might be a compliance question or a contract question. And then we have other staff for that as well. So once because look, in traditional real estate, everybody thinks they have, how's broker in charge? Let me go ask Dan, and all the questions should have been asked me because I was the only guy. I was the broker in charge, right? But at this company, we have all these different positions that are corporate positions, full-time people that are paid to help us get answers to our questions. And the process is a lot faster, just logging on, going into the virtual office and talking live to a real person sitting behind a desk. It's just over the computer and voice as opposed to being in person.
All right, cool. I know I talked to our Georgia broker last week, and she was giving me statistics that the growth in the last 365 days for the state of Georgia was like 159%, and we closed $2.4 billion in volume, and just in the state of Georgia. So I thought that was pretty impressive. And I know the whole company wide, I heard we were like number one in the country. So, and obviously everyone knows we're the fastest growing, but I want to thank, hey, Michelle Kennelly, shout out to you for joining on today. And James and Bob, thanks for joining today. Tricia, anyone else, give Dan some love. If you have any questions, again, put them in the broadcast and share this. We want to get the information out there to people. Dan, what do you think about getting access to the National Association of Expert Advisors coaching and training at Jay Kinder, Michael Reese, and Al Stasic that they give to our group for free? Have you jumped on the Tuesday through Friday calls and Facebook, private Facebook pages? How's that helped your business?
Yeah, tremendously. So that was a big piece of me coming over, actually. I mean, I looked at the model and EXP looked good to great somewhere in there. But then when I mixed or added the added value of Jay Kinder, Michael Reese, Al Stasic, EA component to it, kind of no brainer for me. And then that's also a big piece of when I'm talking to other agents, here, check out our group. Here's what we have with this coaching program. If you like this, what you see, you can stay where you are and pay $28,000 a year for it. Or if you like what you see and it makes sense to come partner with us, then you get all the coaching information at no cost. So that's a big deal.
Yeah, zero cost for a program worth 25, 30 grand a year is pretty phenomenal. That's for sure. And I take advantage of it as much as I possibly can. I know when I have a question, I need something, marketing question or help answering questions. I mean, I got the calendar, and I know you do too. We got Jay and Michael and Al's calendar. We can jump right on and just pick a 20, 30-minute slot and ask any questions that we want. That's kind of the one of the biggest ahas for me is being able to. I mean, Jay was number 2 at Caldwell Banker, selling over 500 and some houses a year. Pretty big producer, CEO of NAEA. And real quick, tell him, I know we got a little story that that he was moving, and you reached out to him and asked him, hey, before he moved, could me and friend go out and model him for a day so we can grow his business like our business like his. And what did he say, and how did that all unfold?
Praying for wisdom and discernment, and then in that prayer, shortly after that, it's a continuous daily type prayer. But shortly after that, I heard Brent Gove say that he used to get on a plane and fly to places and model people, shadow people over and over and over again. Like anyone that had what that he wanted, he would get on a plane. So I thought, But I'm kind of an introvert kind of guy, except for EXP Realty. So let's see, I've only been in a couple of my neighbors' homes, so I find it a little bit interesting, and that I basically called Jay and Michael Reese and invited myself to their home for 3 days, totally out of characteristic, and thought I'd like to invite one of my close friends at the company, which thought of you, Andre. So we went over and got a little flack from other people that didn't get invited, which that wasn't planned out, but I thought. Since it's kind of awkward that I invited myself to their homes, then, found it even more awkward that I was going to invite a group of people. So I thought I better stop at one. That wasn't the initial plan, but that's how it panned out. And
but how amazing is that? I mean, we've known other top agents around the country, and we've paid, other coaching companies, money to get trained and that kind of thing. But to ask, hey, before you move, would you mind if we came and shadow you? A lot of people, most people would probably come up with an excuse, right? I know in one of the coaching programs we're in, you could do that, but you had to pay 30 grand a year to be part of the program to be shadowed for a day. And you and I jumped on a plane, went there for 3 days, and as the movers were packing their stuff up, and their kids were packing stuff, and we were in the office with Jay and Michael in their houses, going over our business plans and listening to what they're doing to help agents bring their businesses to the next level. We couldn't pay someone enough to be able to do that, and it was absolutely free. Then they took us out to dinner. Jay took us for a ride as McLaren for fun. Went to the Dallas, Cowboys place there. That was pretty cool.
Yep. Good times.
And why would they do that? Number one, I mean, they're just class act type people, but they got big hearts just like you do, and most of the people in our group, that we just want to help our business partners in any way that we can, and that's what we do. So that's pretty cool. Have you taken much advantage of getting into their calendars, Jay and Michael, to get help growing your business? Have you taken advantage of that much, and has that been instrumental helping you grow your team to over 600 agents, almost 700 agents now, which is pretty impressive? Yep,
so that's a big deal. So I've been over 100 three-way calls with Jay. So what Jay didn't know, what he didn't know when I first found him on, because I found Jay and then got him on the phone and had this conversation with prior to coming to EXP, and he promised he'd help me. And I said, so the last call prior to me moving my license, I said, "You really going to help me?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "No, I mean, you really going to help me? Because I have a wife and 2 kids, and this really needs to work." And he said he'd help me. But what he didn't know was then I was going to reach out to him and consistently have him help me. So he's really glad that I did, because, it benefits him that I've been able to grow this big organization. But, what I've learned from Jay, I also take that role modeling and mentoring, and I pass it down to the people in my group, in that I recently said, I think you have the most people that are growing the business of anybody in our whole group. And he asked how I did that. And I said, really, it's through love and education. I try to love on the agents and try to educate them on the opportunity, and just whatever that individual agent needs that I can help them with. And, sometimes that starts with the very beginning of finding an agent that needs help with production, or the agent that needs help increasing their production. So it might be going from a deal or 2 to 10 or 10 to 20, or it might be that agent that wants to grow their business. So, yeah, and Michael Reese as well. I've learned so much from Michael. I haven't been on nearly as many calls with Michael, but what a smart guy and what a great guy, and super inspirational to me. And he'd be glad to help me any way he could, and does as well.
All right, awesome. Dan, if there was just one takeaway that you want to make sure that, if there's anyone here listening today that's a close friend of yours, or someone that you really cared about, or any, I know you pretty much care about most people out there, but what would you want to make sure that they took away from this conversation today, and that they really understood about the company or about your experience?
Yep. So I try to learn how to communicate a little bit better today than I did yesterday, the tremendous opportunity at this company. So seriously, if you would have contacted me anytime prior to coming to this company, I could have helped you a little bit. But at this company, if you need to sell your first home, we can help you. If you need to sell 10 homes, we can help you. If you want to sell 20, if you want to go from 20 to 40, if you want to go from 40 to hundreds of homes, we have people that can do that. Now, the cool thing is I don't have to do that by myself anymore. So sometimes I get asked questions that I personally help the agent with, and then sometimes I get questions that I direct them to somebody else, but then I also assist to make sure that question gets answered and that they're with the right person to help them to get that accomplished. So it kind of all boils down to this, and this is something that I missed for years and years. Kind of 2 things is, what's the goal? So, I was really busy in trying to have income and trying to close enough units that I didn't stop for many years and say, what's the real goal? I mean, is really the goal? And then for a while, my goal is to make enough money to be happy to go on vacations and take care of my family. Okay, that's fine. But is that really the goal? That might be a short-term goal, but that's not really that. For me, that wasn't really the goal. And then luckily I had a coach say, hey, we're going to double your units next year. And luckily I knew that was not the goal, because I like coaching kids' baseball games, travel baseball team. When I wasn't coaching, or assistant coaching, then I was at all the games. When I wasn't there, I was at my daughter's cheerleading. So that was super important to me. So the goal, was not to double my units. Now, if he just said, here's what we're going to do, we're going to double your income and you're going to work the same amount of time, and we're going to accomplish that by getting you an assistant and get you a contract to close person. So, or you'll make 50% more money, probably more realistic, in the same amount of time with putting certain key people in place to make that happen. Then I'd have bought in, but it's more of a time frame thing. So what's the goal? And then at this with this opportunity, we really can help you accomplish that goal. And then on a bigger picture, once you have enough income coming in from your production, then let's start focusing on what I consider the ultimate goal, and that is to have time and financial freedom. So we can help you with that too. Look, prior to EXP, I could not help you with time and financial freedom. I could help you with a little bit of both, or a little bit of financial freedom, or maybe a lot of financial freedom. But if you had a lot of financial freedom, you weren't going to have time freedom, because you're going to be running from house to house and appointment to appointment, and evenings and weekends. And so the ultimate goal is to help get you where you want to be, wherever that is. What is the goal? Whatever the goal is, we can help you with that, and then help you to realize the ultimate goal for a lot of us is financial and time freedom. So we aren't opening a door, in our 90s, which kind of might have been the plan before. So nothing wrong with that. If you want to do that, look, if you're 80s and 90s and want to do that, that's great. And, you should do whatever you want in your later years. But, and not saying that I might not do that a little bit myself, but, maybe it'll be a nice oceanfront home or oceanfront condo, as opposed to some house that I have to sell because I need a little bit more money for food on the table, or, or maybe I'm getting too old and running out of money and I need to sell a few more houses. So we got a better plan for you now.
Now, you said when we first started the interview that, it didn't take you long to really decide to come over, because you were kind of looking to make a change. You weren't real happy where you were for whatever reason. So you weren't real happy. You were looking to make a change. Now, I know, 90% of the people out there maybe listening to this, they're happy where they are. They're not looking to make a change. What would you say to people that are totally happy, that love their broker? They're not looking to make any kind of move, because most people are not looking to make any kind of a move. But what would you say to those people about looking at this model?
Well, luckily, I had my best 2 years back to back before I came to EXP Realty. And what I mean by luckily is I'm grateful for being able to get to that place. And that made it a little bit more challenging on, if you do draw a line down a piece of paper and look at reasons to come and not to come. It did not make a lot of sense for me to come. On a piece of paper, just bottom line piece of paper, making the move. Or if it did look like a good idea to make a move, it might not have been at EXP if you just look at the bottom line. So what I was able to do was see enough of the opportunity within the model and look at the entire model and realize that the entire model was a better place for me to work toward my goal than any other opportunity there was. Personally, I took a short-term loss to take a long-term gain, and luckily I did that. So if you're like I was, and I was very happy where I was just prior to becoming not happy and then looking to make a change, and having your best 2 years back to back. Here's what I told my broker at my last company. There was a broker in there. I told the broker, I said, look, when I told him I was leaving, he's like, no, you're not. I said, yeah, I am. And I told him what I was doing, where I was going. And I said, here's the truth. I was scared to leave. And then I kept looking into the opportunity. And then I was more scared not to leave, because I wasn't going to not try to take advantage of this opportunity. I was willing to go and fail miserably, it's just a real estate transfer of a license. If nothing else, I'd just still sell homes and everything would be pretty much the same. But if I took advantage of the model and had success, then it would be a big deal for me. And then I was also aware that it would be a big deal for a lot of other people. So by making that change and helping the other agents at a higher level than I ever could, it was I felt obligated to make that try to happen. So if you're where you are now and everything's going great, that's fantastic. But is whatever you're doing, is that the goal? And is that really the goal? And then for like me looking back, I had my ladder on the wrong building, building the wrong building for a long time. So I was fine and I was happy and I had enough income to do what I wanted to do, but I needed to keep selling houses, which is fine. But, ultimately in the whole bigger picture, I was not working on what the goal really, really was. I was stuck in the hamster wheel of the goal is to sell enough houses to have a few vacations and to be happy. Well, you better start putting more money than you're putting away, generally speaking, if that's what the hamster wheel you're on, because that hamster wheel doesn't end. And so I'm blessed and grateful that I was able to get off that hamster wheel and found a better way.
Yeah, that's a great advice. Really, just to take a look at the model, do the math, right, and look at the entire model, because when you look at everything, I just don't know any other companies that have so much to offer their agents, right? Everything from ownership to group health insurance, right? 5 different ways to get stock into the company, getting all your cap back, and the list just goes on and on. I know people that were at a Remax for 30 years, never planned on ever thinking of making the move, getting closer to retirement. But when he actually jumped on a plane and went to one of our events in Las Vegas before COVID, and he came back and he's like, I can't believe it, but this is what Remax was, 30 years ago, and it's the new, it's the Amazon of real estate, right? So that's pretty cool. My last question is, if you could join EXP all over again, what would you do differently? Is there anything that you would do differently? I know you moved over pretty quickly. I know a lot of people, when I ask that question, it's all about, well, I wish I would have moved over sooner. I wish I wouldn't have waited 3 weeks or 3 months or 2 years of due diligence before I actually made the move, because of a lot of reasons. But is there anything that you can think of that you do differently, or a mistake that you made that you'd want to share so others don't do the same?
Not really. I mean, I think I'm pretty blessed in that I saw it, I got it, the timing was right. I'm sure there's things I could have done differently. Probably the best I can get Andre to answer that question is I did spend some time that probably could have been better at use in figuring out if I should focus on increasing production or helping agents. And, looking back, that all took care of itself, because I told Jay, actually I told him several times, I told him a couple times at least, but I told him and I told Michael Reese in both of them in Texas. I mean, I went there on a mission. I wasn't exactly sure what the mission was, but I knew I needed to go there. And I had some questions, and I had some things I was trying to get answered. And a lot of that had to do with I had a big enough organization that the income had replaced my residential sales from my past company. But look, after you've been licensed 30 years, you sell real estate, right? So it's in my blood. I still sell real estate. I mean, I've had a referral closing last week. I got a listing I'm taking tomorrow, a past client. So part of that was wondering how it would all work out, and kind of like everything else in life, when you look back, it works out the way it's supposed to work out. But now I'm able to help some agents with that when they ask the question of production versus helping your organization. I had a conversation yesterday, and I said, actually, I think I'm more involved in day-to-day sales than I was when I was solo, because now I have a lot of different agents calling me, asking me questions about their day-to-day sales through a contract negotiation or just whatever part of the phase they're in, and helping those agents. Because I spent a lot of time helping agents, and in doing so, I'm kind of right there in production with them and helping them get to the finish line. But that's probably the biggest takeaway. I mean, I tell agents too, if you're on the fence, you might just want to, if you're like looking to make a move and you're going to come to EXP or some other company, maybe just come, I can't say I had a conversation with whoever's listening, but it might be a good idea to just come on over, because you come over and it works out, and you plug in and get some good success, then you'd be far ahead of wherever you were if you went somewhere else for 6 months and then came over. But that's the flip side too. I've had a few agents go to another company, call me up and say, I kept thinking about you, kept looking at the opportunity, I'm ready to come over with you now. So I guess it could work both ways. But for me, it just, the stars were just, the story, Andre. The stars were up, so everything.
We got a question from someone that's asked, is thinking about the balance. How much time for real estate and how much time for agent attraction?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. It kind of depends on where they are, and I deal with that question daily. So, I'll give you a generic answer is I'm a guy that loves this company, and I'm aware and firmly believe we're a real estate company, right? So we should be out selling real estate, or you should be helping agents sell real estate, because we're a real estate company. So, to try to answer the question without knowing who it is or where they're in production or where they are in their agent attraction pieces, I would say the first step is to go out and do a great job with your co-op agent, develop those relationships, and then try to find out who they are and what they need. And then if we can help them with EXP, the model, then we'll present opportunity to them. So, there's tons of different beliefs on spend a couple hours a week on that. I'm more of a relationship kind of guy and think, hey, I got a great idea. Why don't you go out and sell some real estate, do a great job, develop relationships, and find some of those agents to bring over. And that's basically what I did, except I did it with agents that I knew from the past that I was nice to, had good relationships with, that looked at the model because they knew, like, and trusted me. So go out and find some people that know, like, and trust you. And then when your organization starts getting bigger and bigger, then you can replace a few sales with some time with other agents. But you don't replace it with doing nothing. You're either in production or you're helping agents in production. So it's not a get-rich-quick scheme, and there is work to be done. And the more work you do, the more satisfying, the more you're helping others.
Yeah, it was Daniel Miller that asked that question. Thanks, Danielle. I appreciate that. I'll respond to that real quick too. And I think you hit the nail on the head, but it really depends on the agent, right, and what their goals are. I tried time block, an hour in the morning, an hour in the afternoon, because I'm doing a lot of that now because I have time to coaching in between the coaching and training and helping my agents. But before my first 2 years at EXP, I was working 40 hours a week as an inside sales agent, right? Getting paid by other people to set up leads for them while I was building my real estate business. And so it was just, in the evenings and weekends, every chance that I had, I would try to share opportunity with people. And the goal was, hey, just talk to 2 people a day. If you can talk to 2 different people a day to share the opportunity with them by sending them a video or whatever, you do that, ongoing, the next year or two is gonna look a lot different. And for those agents that are super busy, I mean, they're going 80 hours a week now selling houses. What I share with those guys is, I mean, all those deals that you're doing, the houses that you're showing to your clients, and you're running around showing properties to people. All those agents that you have deals with, or the agents that you're showing their properties, just call them up and give them feedback on the house. And then at the same time, before you hang up, tell them, hey, you're working on a real estate project you'd love to get their opinion on. And would they want to meet for coffee or would they, check out a video or whatever, and just get the information out while you're already doing something. So there's really no extra time at all. And just by doing that, it could be a game changer. Last question. Well, if someone wants to reach out to you, Dan, have questions for you, want to talk to you about maybe joining your team or pick your brain, find out more about EXP, we got your phone number there, obviously. Is that the best way for someone to reach out to you? Phone call, text, or what other ways should they reach out?
Yep, kind of old school. Give me a call. It's kind of weird. I'll pick up the phone or I'll call you right back. So I think maybe a dying breed, and I get that. But also they could go to, this is kind of simple to know, is www.dansrealestatesolutions.com. Dan with an S, Dan's Real Estate Solutions with an S.com. And you can jump on a calendar. I mean, I do calendars as well. I prefer the phone call, but the calendar's kind of nice because I can plan my day. But yeah, I appreciate that, Andre. Just reach out to me. I'll be glad to help you any way I can, even if it's not with a brokerage change. If you just need help in real estate, I'll help you out.
All right, awesome. Last question real quick before we sign off. If you're a reader, Dan, what's the best inspirational book that you love? Or if you're a movie watcher, what's the name of your favorite all-time movie?
Yeah, can't sit through a movie. I have ADD too bad. Can't read a book, have ADD too bad, but I do. But Audible changed my life. Sounds kind of weird. Audible, I'll stand by it till the end. Audible changed my life. So a lot of good books that I've listened to on Audible. James Maxwell's great on leadership. It's a little harder to listen to, but I'd need to dig into that more. Probably the book, I'll give you, the Bible. I actually read that. All the other books are on Audible. But, book prior to EXP was Think and Grow Rich. Changed my whole thinking, changed my direction of my life. And then since EXP, Building an Empire had a big effect on me. And then, but a simpler read that'll help you, even if you're not looking for the areas that I was looking to grow in, was The Compound Effect. So that's a big book that'll help you compound anything you're trying to compound with your thoughts, and can compound direction of what you do with money. Also helping, leverage people to help them leverage people. So that book was big for me. But I've got a lot of great books in there, but those are 4 off the top of my head.
Building an Empire, that's from Brian Carruthers. I know that one. Who's the author of the compounding one?
Compound Effect, Darren Hardy. So once I read that book, it did clear up my thinking and help me focus on the importance of either you could use that with saving money, having investments, but once you understand how money or compounds, or how your time, effort, and energy in a certain area can compound, then that book was a big inspirational and game changer for me.
Well, awesome. Well, hey, I want to thank you again for your time today. I want to thank David and Kim and Danielle and all the other people who joined us today, Brian and Steve. If you guys need anything, reach out to myself or to Dan. We're here for you. Thanks again for joining us at the Financial Freedom Forever podcast, and we'll see you next week.